Hello, this is Alekius, and welcome back to Automation as Kiev Motors in Archana. Left off in 1987, we've got a war chest that we're going to try to use today. And I think even though we're just a few short years away from hitting 1990 and having all regions unlocked, we're going to get started early and get some new projects out, fill in some gaps in our demographic list, which I have taken the time to update. By the way, I am a bit ill, so I'm going to see how this works out. Here's the list I updated. Couple changes. This potential percentage, which shows a Alright, if you add up all these available sizes and divide this available size by all the available sizes, exactly what that formula says, the light delivery market that is available to our current market penetration and saturation gives us 7.7% of what we could be targeting. So I find that a little handy, so I don't need to manually highlight things anymore. Although I still did as I was figuring out, okay, what cars are we gonna make? Which these red hash marks are a lot of what we were targeting. We also are looking to target down here. I do believe we went for the premium budget and the luxury market. Everything else that we have a decent score and category in would probably be the pink color. The reds are the ones I was actually trying to make, not that I made one of every single one of those. To get a feel for what we should be doing this time around. So with that, I don't want to take too long. And we have no engines under development right now, other than the retrims. Of course, we're going to do an inline 4. And let's start with our budget inline 4, which should be push rods. I'm going to do maximum stroke engine, which is a 1.2 liter. All cast iron. Nice and cheap. Then we're going to make a couple variants. Drop that down. I'm pretty much seeing that the cam profile of 28 is the most efficient. Almost without fail. Alright, and I think I did take a note. I wanted to do a modern rehash of the single barrel eco carburetor. Twin carbs. Regular gas. And I think I went with a short cast. And no muffler, but yes on the catalytic converter. Which isn't important yet, but it will be soon. Right, so I think that puts us in the category that we want. Oh yeah, we want to shrink this down. I'll leave it with 25.4, but we're probably going to drop it down to 19. So, first things first. I went with all cast and the push rods. I won't let it go back now. All cast, all push rods, because it has minimum engineering time, minimum production units. Not necessarily minimum material cost. And that's the same for the crank con rods and pistons. Cam profile, that's for the fuel efficiency purely. Same with the carburetor, it's cheap. If we hold the engine and go to injection, even a simple injection system, $80 more expensive, only one production unit. Engineering time I don't care about too much. It is more fuel efficient. But it's more complex. Takes a little bit more. Actually, not that bad. It gives us a boost on the low end, especially the high end a little bit. Although that may be due to timing or something else. It's set up to like a 60. Oh yeah. Well, that's not going to be fair comparison since I don't have the compression to balance it out with for the same ROM. Although, actually, let's do this. Oh, I can't lower the compression anymore. It's already at the minimum. Rats. I don't know. I might go back on what I just said and go with the single point EFI. It's less than $30. It's one production unit. It's not a big deal. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to pump up compression ratio. So we hit that point. Drop the ignition slightly. And I just want to demonstrate how this changes the curve. The torque curve. And kind of what ignition timing does. You can see it kind of morphing as we go, but you go from an ignition timing of 50 to 80, you get this dip upward power curve early on. You get this peak in the 2 to 3200 RPM range. This big dip right at 4300. Then it kind of pairs up again, and it's kind of like this sine wave superimposed over a torque curve, and you can see where they're out of sequence with each other. That isn't 100% accurate. Kind of gives you an idea of why I adjust the ignition timing the way I do. So we'll go back, making me really think about my quick test run to feel things out. Material costs $8. That would be 11. Production units go up pretty significantly. But it makes it an overhead cam. Even the single overhead cam isn't too crazy. And honestly, even the dual overhead cam has gotten a lot simpler. Well, let's try something out. I don't even know it'll work this way. We'll freeze that engine. We'll pop over to direct overhead cam. Take a look. That's literally $7 and one production unit. We lose some fuel efficiency though, and gain on the high end, which may be why we're losing fuel efficiency there. So if we were to go with an overhead cam, 2-valve, nothing crazy, we start adding valves and it does get a lot more expensive. Looking at under 20, a little bit more fuel efficient, significantly more fuel efficient because we have octane to use. Efficiency goes, or reliability goes down a little bit though. And that's not something I'm looking to do. Is that a big enough difference that change things enough? Answer is I don't know. Now the direct acting overhead cam definitely got us a lot of high end. And it could be the lack of familiarity that's killing us. I could go do a generation of all dual overhead cam. I mean, is that much more expensive? Even at 2 valves? Reliability doesn't change. You know what? We're going to keep similarity in the generation. So the 1987 engines are all going to be dual overhead cam. Because I can. And I'm really changing things up now. Boost our compression to 7.9. I want to be below 50. Alright. Now let's start cycling through our availability. Fuel efficiency 19.5. No significant changes. Up a little bit more, and we're back up to 19.5, and we get a performance increase. We'll freeze that one. Try one more, and I think that'll be too much. Although we get a little bit more fuel efficiency. Only a slight sacrifice in power. This green curve being the fuel efficiency curve. So yeah, I think we will try one more. This is a lot more advanced of a timing than I expected to get out of this. Stop there though. Squeeze the pipe down. Lose 3 horsepower. Get a flatter horsepower curve. And it sucks out kind of from 4,000 RPMs and on. And we get above 20% fuel efficiency. I like that. Then we will squeeze down. Yeah, that's just giving us reliability at that point. Woo, way too much. If we, what would 65 reliability be? 4,900 RPM, that's way too slow. To 5,700? Or do we start to see performance dropping? 5,900. Just under 6,000 RPMs. Relatively sedate and tame engine. See, it's been a little bit since I've done a recording for this. I've been doing my other series, recording my other series ahead of time lately while I catch up. I think it's 66 by 88. Stock V2. Is that the naming convention I have had? Ah. 2V dock. This naming convention I do remember a bit. This is a 1.2 liter economy 49. Although I've been adding extra stuff recently, haven't I? Ah, shoots. I don't remember what that was, but I seem to change my naming conventions every decade. Engines less so. So this was an economy, naturally aspirated, injected, ENI. That's right, because it made the STI the turbo version. 49.87. There we go. That's one engine down. Now, if we look at making, it's going to look very similar. That way overshot. Bring this down to 1.2 liters. Dual overhead cam. 4 valves with 4. A lot of engineering time, a lot of production involved in that. Really doubles it. Well, it's 5 on that component. Less than 5, 4. We're looking at a i4cc 66 by 88 4V dock. Then we're going to do cast hyperuretic. This being a good for mission. We're definitely still going to go with good cam profile for efficiency. This is an engine that is supposed to be cheap and affordable. And I know I'm doing a multi-point EFI for it. Cheap-ish and affordable-ish. It looked like it was single point. Yeah, I was trying to get maximum fuel efficiency out of it without going to per cylinder. Isn't good for it. That really doesn't change it much. No, production unit wise it does. But yeah, having 4 valves, it would have been 25 rather than 30. Or 25 instead of 29. Or rounding. Alright. We're still going to neck down the exhaust. Stop at 25.4. It'll give us, okay, maximum 6,300. Keep it there for now. Then, how about we just advance the timing completely? Do it in this direction instead. See if this goes a little bit faster because it's a little bit easier to go until that yellow exclamation mark goes away. Just telling me that the engine's knocking. That's why the exclamation mark is pointing up. The yellow exclamation mark, if you're not familiar with the game, gives you cautions. You can hover over it. You've probably seen me do it to check, you know, why is it yelling at me? But in this particular case, it's telling me about the knocking. That one was beneficial overall. That one was kind of middling. That one was kind of mediocre. There we go. There's a significant spike in fuel efficiency. I bet you it's because of this part of the curve. That's where all your fuel efficiency happens. Is between 2 and 3,000. Because where is your engine idling and where does it have its... When it's under load but you're just maintaining speed, where's it sitting? And as long as you aren't at very high rates of speed, you're just at normal city traveling, that's going to be at that relatively low RPM range. Yeah, it looks like we hit a high peak there. Go a little bit more just to see if maybe there's another peak down lower. At this point, I'm pretty sure we hit the high point. Yep. Go back to that. 23.7% fuel efficiency. That's actually pretty darn good. Fuel efficiencies in engines are 20 to 25%, I think, in modern day engines. I'm digging deep, so don't quote me on this. But I had an interest in thermal efficiencies a while back, and I did a little bit of self-research. Oh yeah, that's a significant amount of knocking. What's it look like? Alright, I need to, before I neck this down, see if I want to, I have to up, drop, drop. That's really not helping us out. We might as well take all that extra power because we're not helping down here too much. But I was doing thermal efficiencies and like reactors, not nuclear reactors. Well, nuclear reactors are included because it doesn't really matter what kind of power generation you're looking at making. Most of them work by creating steam. Takes water, makes steam, recovers the energy through a steam turbine, which helps recondense the water, forming an entire loop. And it's just a matter of how you create that steam. Coal, oil, natural gas, nuclear. Like, there's a lot of different ways to create that steam. And those are like 30, and like super advanced technology that's practical, I think, in the 40%. And theoretical, you're getting up into like the 50s and 60s. But again, don't quote me on that, it's been a while. Sounds like a regular inline 4 engine that you would hear on the street. A little bit underpowered, but a larger one would just be a little bit louder. Speaking of which, that is not very loud. Lose some efficiency. 0.2%. And it's still under 70 decibels, which is my limit. Actually, it doesn't sound too different. I think I'll keep it. So again, I have an engine that is completely different. Well, not completely different. Quite a bit different from what I intended. So we're looking at economy, naturally aspirated, injected, multi-point injected. I think that's what I'm doing. ENMs 60. That's going to give a lot more power, and I don't think we're sacrificing much for it. Yep, I was doing M. 87. So this one we're going to go D for discount. Mostly among the cheapest engines that we make will be the Ds. The E's will be the Ecos. Then kind of a combo will be regular or standard. I'm not sure which now because S is sport. I'll figure something out. I want to make one more engine. Line 4, aluminum, dual overhead, 4 valve, and we're still doing the same 1.2 liter. We're just changing the block material and the head valves. Very little difference between all these. So this is a I4 AA 6688 4V2 DOHC. What are we going to do with this one? We do billet steel? I don't think we're going to need that many RPMs. I'll take a look, see what requires a CNC workshop. Yeah, I don't want to go out of my way. Lightweight forged. Drop. Oh, we're going to keep the cam profile at 40 to start. Pardon me. Especially if I forget to cut that out. I'm gonna wait on the variable valve timing. I intend to get it. I'm gonna wait. Multi-point, I'm gonna do single, I'm gonna do performance, regular, lean it out, soup it up, long tubular, high flow, single, none. And there we go. A variable valve timing. Drop it. Do comparison. Like, ooh, wow, that's a big difference in the higher end. I want to build some experience on this, so I really wanted to do it. Takes a lot of engineering time, though. I might find on that. That's getting excessive. Engineering time on this one, for example. 100. Okay, that's a lot. I over 80. Like 80 in 100 months. You know what? Do it. Otherwise, who's going to put it out there? Alright, so here's our curve. Something we're going to do on this one is turbocharge it. I want to make sure everything else is where I want it first. And I think so. That's about the engine I want. Okay, going to do the ball bearings. Go with performance. Bring it down to 10 psi. We'll just manipulate that curve. Losing a little high-end power, but we're shaping that curve into something. Stop there. That's giving us more on the back end without sacrificing the top. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. Go down to 32, that's both. Losing just a little bit off the top end of the curve by necking down the AR ratio. Okay, can we get that back a little bit further? Well, I kind of like where it is right here. Let's take a look. And see what a minimal compressor looks like. 1.2. We're looking literally at a minimum size turbo. We hit a sweet spot right about there for efficiency. We're losing boost on the top end, which seems a little silly to me. We're losing a lot of the power that we gain from this fuel efficiency turbo. And I don't want that. I'm just kind of curious. We're not even hitting peak. Like we're getting better power at better efficiency 1500 to 2300. So like it's actually not that great. Go up slightly. I want to compare these. Forget that. I want to see what does this look like. We lose a little bit on the bottom end. We gain a little bit. I'm splitting hairs at this point. We'll just keep this one. Boost the compression to make up for anything else. Don't need the boost anymore. We are going to use regular fuel. And wow. Oh, because it's starving the turbo. I don't think we're going to get too much fuel efficiency out of it. Surprised we can neck it down to a 44 millimeter. 1.8 inch. Without really sacrificing the top end at all. Interesting. Oh wow, it's actually pretty quiet too. Don't need the extra muffler. Reduce the size of the intercooler. And then we're starting to neck into the high end. Stop right about there. Curious again. Give it a little bit more space inside the turbo to breathe. Losing a little bit on the back end. Getting significant more on the front end. That's every turbo. Boost it more. Losing torque. Interesting. Sorry, I could get lost tweaking turbos all day. Especially if you're not going max power or efficiency. You're doing something kind of in between. Like I picked 10 pounds of boost. I was like, arbitrary. I looked at, well, it wasn't completely arbitrary. I looked at, oh, high stress. 7,500, bring that down to 7,400. I looked at some real world engines and I was like, you know, what's a decent low end performance turbo like? And like 5 pounds of boost, that's like a fuel efficiency turbo. 10 is like your basic performance one, and then you got your sport turbo, and then you have your super high end premium turbo, and you're going up. You're kind of doubling using the eco as a 5. Alright, so now all we have left to do is to tweak the compression and ignition timing. That's a good change. We want more advanced timing. More advanced timing. Not so much on that one. We hit the limit there. That's the ignition timing that we're looking for a turbo, which makes sense to me. Turbos typically in my experience in this game, require a retarded. That's just the terminology. You advance the timing or you retard the timing. Turbo uses a more retarded timing compared to a regular engine to give more time for that. I'll make sure I get this. Yeah, gives more time for the mixture to get into the cylinder before everything fires off. And I apologize that I'm sick and I'm not thinking very clearly. Sounds a bit like a turbo engine. That isn't the finished engine though, because knock off the top end of that curve that we don't really need. And I think we'll go with 7,000. I like it. So let's say 12 performance, turbo, multi-point injected for 96 horsepower. This one did end up, naming wise, it's named the same thing. And my notes, it's pretty close. Not identical, but it's really close. So no, that worked out well. And now we have 3 engines. Now for some of the more interesting, well, that all depends on your interests. More interesting side of it is going to be all the crazy cars we're about to make that I have no names for, but we're going to go with we'll rename these later. I'm going to use several for this one. I think the one I wanted was this one. Yeah, because that is definitely an 80s vehicle. This is the front end definitely looks more 90s-ish. Looking at this one, looking at a steel monocoque, steel, front longitudinal, double wishbone, double wishbone. Ooh, multi-link. A lot of engineering time. These are supposed to be basic vehicles. Production units, more expensive. I think we're going to keep with double wishbone. One's going to use the regular engine. Pretty sure this uses just the regular one. We'll get the shell on there. We'll do the body deformation, the fixtures, I'll do that off camera. Unless there's a big interest in doing it. Flatten it. A little bit of a bump there. Out slightly. Don't want it to be too heavy. Family vehicle, so we'll give them a little bit more room in the cabin. Fill the styling a little bit. Want to keep that line clean. Now I'm probably going to keep the front as is. I'm not going to deform any of that. You'll hit that bumper anyway. Alright.
Might flare the wheels some, but that can wait for off screen when I decide to mess with it. Number of times I've done this just to get it down so I can see how everything settles. No, I know it's going to be that. Dooby. I think we're probably going to go standard 80s with everything. Alright, so we're looking at front wheel drive. 2 or 3. Helps if I actually set this for what it's supposed to be. A family car. Regular family car. Looking at my demography. Yeah, this was supposed to be just a regular family car. Because that had 8.7% of the market. And then they want their overdrive. I think they're going to want, yep, 4 gears is acceptable. 6.6. Let's lengthen the spacing. They like that as well. Yep, all the way to the end. It's actually cheaper to use larger gears like that, apparently. I think we'll hit the sweet spot right at 127. I do like the geared limited slip. We'll keep it open for now. Take a look at that after we tweak some of the rest of it. Let's go thin. Oh, those are pretty tiny tires. They're cheap though. And okay, we only get a little bit out of that. Could shrink them down, but I don't want tiny tires. I want them to be semi-reasonable. I think that's about as small as I'm going to make them. I might be able to get away with a little bit more. 93.9, 4. I could maybe keep going. I don't want to do that though. Then we'll go solid disc. We keep it at drum. 2 piston. Oh wow. Ah, there we go. That's just over. Up the rears. Oh yeah, can't forget the compound. I've been trying 40 recently and tweaking it for that. Do 220s. Leave a little bit of room on the front brakes so they don't fully lock up until you shift forward. No under tray, full cooling, 3.2 basic. Okay, they'll cough up the money for a cassette player, and 70% affordability is pretty gosh darn good. Definitely want power steering. I'll go for the variable as well. Everybody likes ABS. Okay, apparently not much. With the traction control, you know what? You can go without it. standard 80s. I'm not going to flex on that because I'm going to want to get into gas maya. Progressives, they like those. Hydropneumatic, not so much. Air, not so much. Adaptive. Adaptive are very expensive. Gas mono, not so much. Play with gas mono. Then drop this down. This is probably a bit stiff. Probably should have used one of the presets. Well, bring it down to 2. I'm looking at these numbers here. I think they want a little bit higher, like a 1.44. I think the dampers are so far off that I need to adjust those before I start getting accurate reflections on tweaking things. Let's tweak it a little bit on this end. Alright, that's a little better. Tiny drop, that's a big drop. 1.8 and 2. There's the peak for the dampers. We're going to throw the same number. I'm going to use the softer. And then 163, 0.8, 164. A little bit lower, so we're looking here, and they want it to have a higher ride height. We've hit about peak. Alright, so we'll take another look, tweak anything that needs tweaking. Oh, now you want it to be a little bit faster, huh? You want that overdrive. Okay, right there. Oh, not too big on the gear ratios. We could actually drop down to 3. The 3 gear, I'm going to go with the 4 shifter though. Brakes don't look like they need tweaking actually. Aerodynamics are good. Safety, all that. Affordability, 71%, and it ended up being different from the car I intended it. So this is our family. And with that, we've got at least one of them done. I'll do the fixtures off screen. And I will have to continue on next time. Thank you for staying till the end. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And I will see you next time. Take care.